No explanation about why I'm dressed up. It's all fine.
Or why I'm wearing my collar.
Yeah, that's right. What's happening, party people? Welcome to Punch More Party. My name is Daniel. This is Father Greg. And we're getting this channel back on track, folks.
For the fifth time.
That's right. So every now and then, things go a little awry.
Yeah.
We get into a nice groove, and then the wheels just fall off. And so last month, March, there was a snowstorm. There was a really busy week at work for me. There was a bout of sickness. I had something awful coming out of me. Woof! And so just obstacle after obstacle. And so you'll notice that our last best of the month for all the games we played in February was released at the very end of March. And this video is coming right on the heels. But this sets us up now that from now on we're going to be kind of right on track to release a best of the month at the beginning of the following month from the month that we're talking about. So we should be good if we can keep this routine.
Yeah. A routine of 1 month is a great start. Every good virtue starts with the first time.
But, Father Greg, we've been blessed because it's a busy holy season for us.
Yep.
Because of all sorts of different factors, we didn't play a lot of games.
That's a blessing.
Because I get to edit a nice, short video. Now here's the goal. Can Father Greg and I be short even when we don't have a lot of games to talk about? We'll see.
Get ready for a half-hour discussion on Furnace.
Delightful, delicious. So right at the beginning of the month, there was a church game night. It was the night of the snowstorm. And we thought nobody would come. And people came.
Wow.
But it was a little bit of a lighter crowd. So I found myself sitting at a table and actually playing a Euro game. The Voyages of Marco Polo.
Oh my gosh. Yep, here we go.
And so anyway, here's the thing.
Let's have a nice quick dissection of this game.
No, I already thought about this. I thought about this. The thing about Marco Polo that I was afraid of as soon as I started playing the second game of this in quick succession was that the cards that come out that determine kind of the random worker placement spaces that are out on the board, out on the map, kind of the same card that I used to win in the game that I played with you, came out in nearly the same spot on the board early on, like easy to get to. And so I was like, oh, this is just going to be a one-trick pony, like just a repeat. I'll just do the same thing again and I'll win. But this time, the players, they also got in on that space. And they made it so that I couldn't use it all the time and often. And so then I had to pivot and I had to utilize other things, like utilizing the contracts more and things like that. And I was like, okay, player interaction is actually quite high in this game. And that was a refreshing discovery. So the Voyages of Marco Polo was still kicking it in the high spaces on my games list.
Wow.
Despite kind of these little fears of, is this balanced? Oh, is this is this luck? Is this what? There's lots of things to work with to have a good game of Marco Polo.
Right, you're just saying the players you played it with that night were smarter than the players you played with our night. Got it.
Well, obviously.
Super. No, I can see that. I think, Voyage of Marco Polo has a nice, like, overall aesthetic. The speech of the game sounds great. Oh, man, I get these cool powers. I'm, like, traveling to different parts of the world. It's awesome. You know, the dice placement is cool.
Yeah.
It's, like, you know, some neat little things, little wrinkles in there. It's a good game. The game I played was a game that spelled a Ryle, but it's pronounced a Heil, I think. This is a game about a Portuguese street festival.
Oh.
Where you give basil. Apparently, like boys give girls basil plants. That's like the way in which they ask you out. It's really like a romantic.
That's a mating ritual.
Yeah. You give like a potted basil plant to a girl.
Oh, and she just swoons.
And she just goes, basil, my favorite. And then you go and you get crammed into a street where there's like music and people kissing and like whatever in front of churches. It's just like whatever. You're in this big plaza in Portugal and there's a big party going on. That's the game of Ohio.
What is this? When was it published?
Have you never seen this game? You definitely know this game. So this game is Tetris the board game.
That is okay. I am imagining I think I know.
So basically, you have these like literally this is Tetris the board game, but they didn't get the IP from Tetris to call it Tetris the board game. So like you take a polyomino piece and you start at the top of your board and you drop it down until it like reaches the bottom. And you know in Tetris where like if something's at the bottom, but you're like holding the left key like really hard at the last moment, like it'll get to the bottom and it'll slide in, just like right at the end. So like at the very bottom. Like, if there's a space, you can, like, slide it over. Just, like, one space.
You have to?
You don't have to.
Okay.
But you can, right? If there's, like, if there's a little space that you need to get into, but you can't quite.
Yeah.
You know, you get that little thing that happens. It's slick. And then there's, like, this bar that, like, drops down as the game goes on. And if you hit the bar, then, like, you lose, not the game, but you lose some points.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Tetris the board game. It's swell though. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The art is like a little weird. I think probably people maybe look at the box and are like, "What is this?" And you can't even really read a Heil. It's like a weird kind of crazy script.
Yeah.
And so on. But it's a lot of fun. This is like a very entry level game.
Cool.
But if you find someone that enjoys polyominoes and Tetris-y things, right up their alley.
This is right up your alley.
Yeah.
Okay, and then next I played Everdell.
Ooh.
Just got a nice game of base Everdell played. And last night, I had a dream that I was finally buying board games again after Lent. Because during Lent, I tend not to buy any board games as one of my Lenten observances. And so Lent was over, and I was buying expansions for Everdell. I don't know why that was what I chose to do, but I bought Mirkwood.
Yeah.
And
That's
New
a weird
Leaf.
one. Wow, those are two weird ones to buy.
Yeah. I don't know why I bought those.
Like a little solo expansion, huh? A little interesting.
I did. I think I meant to buy Spirecrest, but I didn't.
Just went and bought the solo expansion with spiders.
Anyway, so a couple buddies were over, and neither of them had played Everdell before, and I was like, you know what, we have to play Everdell. I just really love Everdell, and what I'm realizing more and more, and this isn't a criticism, even though it's going to sound like one, is just how difficult Everdell is at the start of the game is really unfortunate for new players. Because this can be a game that would be really accessible as a next step up from something like Ticket to Ride or something like that. But that first round, man, like it does not feel good when you've used all your workers, you've played all the cards you think you can play, and then you're moving on to summer or whatever, and you're like, huh? I didn't do anything.
That's right.
But then things start chaining and your cards start popping off and then you're off to the races. This can really be, again, if you've played the game before, if you know the cards, you're gonna do better. So there's just some certain things that don't make it as accessible for new players as it could be.
You get a little green leaf card in the first, like in your first hand.
Yeah.
Like little thing gives you a twig each green phase or whatever.
Yes.
Just play that down right away.
Yeah.
Little twig barge, you're set, right?
And then you play other cards that just activate your leaves again.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
There's all sorts of stuff to do there. But just the hand management here is slick. It's really exciting to draw more cards and see what you can get that'll work out. It's fun to discard cards to get a bunch of resources. Now you can do the stuff with the other cards you have. And you know what? Everdell is just, I would say, an evergreen classic.
It is an interesting point with like when you have a game with lots of different cards and like card text and synergy between different cards, it's like tough to know what the synergies are, right? Like any kind of whatever deck builder or whatever, like whereas a game like let's say Magic the Gathering, like you come with a deck prepared and you're like, okay, here's what my synergy is. Like you know your deck in and out. Whereas when you're introduced to a game like this, you're just like, okay, I'm gonna have to see what the synergies are as I draw cards and realize, oh, I see these two cards kind of work really well together.
Yeah.
That's neat. But it takes a while before you like figure that out.
Great game.
Cool. The next game I played was Corinth.
Nice.
Played this one two months in a row, but it's been a while since I played it, so it was good to get it back for two plays in a row, and it's just a great roll and write. Back in the day when like there was this huge flurry of roll and writes,
right?
And like Days of Wonder hadn't published like a game that year, and they were just like, hey, why don't we just cash in on this? Roll and write craze.
Let's barely do anything and make some money.
That's right. And they probably made some.
I saw a slew of these at a liquidation store.
That's right. You're right. You can get it probably for pretty cheap, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great game. It's a lot of fun. I had a time where I was playing both this and a Ohio with kind of a family of like, they've played some board games before, but kind of like new gamers, let's say.
Okay.
They both went over really, really well. Just had a great time with it. And I was like, lovely.
Okay, so here we go. Pierce's favorite game. We didn't play test this at all, Legacies. So he forced us to play this piece of garbage.
Again.
Well, no, the first time we didn't play test this at all. And now we played.
There's a legacy version?
Yes.
What?
So the legacy version of this game has opportunities for you to write in pen certain things. So like blue blank, like if a player is wearing blue blank, then da-da-da-da-da. Right. So then you now permanently change that card to shirt.
Right.
And so now it's always going to be a blue shirt that makes the thing. This game is just all dumb, but it goes all in on dumb, and it actually turns out to be a really cool time. And I've never seen a round of this game last more than 3 minutes.
Okay.
So it's really no harm, no foul.
Just goes to show, not playtesting something at all doesn't hurt.
That's right.
So lesson to all you board game developers out there.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't bother playtesting your games.
I mean, I don't know if you could ever come up with a different game then we didn't play the this at all, but whatever.
Right. Cool. That's fun. I do kind of want to play this.
Yeah, it's worth checking out.
Right. Well, finally, it's been several months that you've heard me mention this game. This will be the last month, presumably, for a while, that you'll hear me talk about it. That's The Adventures of Robin Hood.
Okay.
So we finally completed.
Is Friar Tuck no longer in danger?
Friar Tuck, I mean, we had some theories about Friar Tuck. Friar Tuck is like a weird guy in this game. Like, he's on your side, but like there's a few things that lead you to believe like
maybe he's not.
Maybe? Like, are we expecting some weird turn of events?
A heel turn.
Where where Friar Tuck is all of a sudden the bad guy.
Right.
Like, literally, there's one part of the game where like it's like you show up at the end of the game, it's like Friar Tuck's missing. You're like, what the hell? Where did he go? Why isn't he here with us? Like, we were all just at the fireplace. Like, where did he go? He went off somewhere. Either to betray you or...
Was he kidnapped?
To do something good. No. Just went away. For some mysterious purpose. Yeah, this is a great game. We had a lot of fun playing through this campaign. The expansion, I think, certainly lifts it up a notch in terms of difficulty. There's some...
And what about in value? Like, is the expansion good?
In value, I would say it's more of the same. So if you like the first one, just add the expansion. You know, it's just 4 more missions. Yeah, really exciting game. I'd be anxious to see, like, more games use this. Kind of like board games / like miniatures game, like where you're like measuring out distances and like that kind of stuff. And that could get into like, there were times when it's like you get your guy and he's like this far away from like the tile, and it's like, okay, is he touching that tile? You know, like, can we just like you kind of have to fudge the rules. Like, if you play with like a real stickler who's like, no, that person is like literally like there's a space that is like a millimeter thick between him and that tile. Like, he's not at that spot yet. You have to wait till next turn.
Right.
Like, you're going to have a miserable experience. But if you have someone, if you're in a group, it's just like, you know what, let's just, all right, fine. But a lot of fun.
That is fun. Okay, so after one round of we didn't play test this at all Legacies, I put my foot down. I said, no more. And we played Parade instead. And so Parade, this lovely game where each turn you play a card, and depending on the card you play determines what cards you pick up into your tableau. And you don't want cards in your tableau. I always assume that really you're going to have to end up with things in your tableau, and so you're going to have to be smart about what you actually get in. Gears was able to play this game with pretty much having like 3 or 4 cards in his tableau at the end, and he stomped us. He like had 3 points. Right. I was like, okay, I guess you can do that. So still loving Parade. Awesome to introduce it to new people to see how they handle this puzzle. And it pays off every time. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I like that. That was nice.
Right. Yeah, you've talked about this a couple months, and your explanation of the game has literally made never any sense to me, ever. Like, as you're explaining the game, you're like, you put down a card, and then you take all the other cards, you count this many cards in, and then you take all of the other valid cards, but the valid cards are the ones that are the color, the number lower, and then you take those, but you don't want cards, but then if you have lots of cards, then the ones that you have only count as 1 point instead of -7 points, so that's better, and you're going to have to take cards. But this game is super easy. It's like once you get into like figuring out, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I got it.
But there is no better way to explain it.
No. That's a perfectly accurate rules explanation. It's just like it doesn't make any sense to the first person who's hearing it.
That's right.
Like if somebody's like teaching it, you're like, sorry, what? Like, what am I trying to do? But yeah, it is a good game.
It is a good game.
I played an exciting game of Dragomino.
Woo! Yeah.
So
our favorite go-to around here at Punchboard Party.
Went over to Mary Dallas's house at Astor's birthday, and she got Dragomino for her birthday, and was very excited to play it. And so we.
Did you crush her heart when she found some broken dragon?
She found an inordinate amount of broken dragon shells. No, she wasn't upset, which was great.
Okay, but there was a potential.
Now, I was riding high. I was like, every single egg I was flipping was a dragon. Like, just dragon. Now, I'm told that, so, in the end, I had 7 dragons.
Yeah.
Another person had 7 dragons.
Yeah.
And Dallas had 6 dragons.
Yeah.
But he also had that purple dragon.
Yeah.
He said that counts as another dragon.
Yeah.
That is nonsense. And so he ended up winning the tiebreaker with his stupid purple dragon that he just happened to get because he flipped over the last player to flip over a friggin' broken eggshell.
Yep.
What a stupid rule.
All right, so this is kind of my main event of the month. Got back to the table, Dune Imperium Uprising.
Okay.
So if you know anything about March, Dune Part 2 came out.
Yes.
And so a lot of people were going to see Dune Part 2. I hadn't actually seen Dune Part 1. So I got a hold of Dune Part 1, watched that, and then in quick succession I went to the theater and watched Dune Part 2 with Colin, and away we went. And so I was itching to play Dune Imperium after watching those movies. Because I've been playing Dune Imperium forever without watching the first movie, and so I was just like, this is a great game. And now I'm like, haha.
Right.
Like little references come to life, and it's like, okay, it doesn't really add anything to the game. I think the game is pretty themeless. Still wanted to explore more of Dune Imperium Uprising, so played it once with Sarah. So again, we needed the House of Gaul deck to play a 2-player version. And the game went pretty long, as we were kind of getting used to it again and figuring it out again, that kind of thing. Then Colin came over, and we played a 3-player game of Dune Imperium Uprising. And you know what? My first impression of Dune Imperium Uprising, when I talked about it on the channel, I was positive overall, but it came with a lot of kind of negatives or mixed feelings, and I didn't know how to feel about it. And one of the reasons was that I got a major rule wrong with playing with the House of Gaul deck, where there's a shield wall that's protecting 3 locations. And so you can't use worms in the battles at those locations when they come up, when those conflicts come up, if the shield wall's in place. But then the House of Gaul deck has these break the shield wall symbols, and so then I was breaking the shield wall whenever it would come up, and it was really early game, and so then the shield wall didn't matter, and I was like, that seems stupid. But you're not supposed to do that until the House of Gaul character has a sandworm hook, a maker hook. And I didn't read that I missed that in the rules, and so I was playing it wrong. So then we were playing it right, and then we played it right with Colin, and we didn't need the House of Gaul deck. And then a nice little progression emerged in Uprising. There's a really valuable space that costs a lot to get to, but when I get there, I can get a maker hook. And now with a maker hook, I can get a worm. But with the most lucrative battles, I need to break the shield wall before I get my worm and use it in battle to really double the rewards I get and get a lot of points here. And so, yes, you can make a lot of points in one conflict in this game, which is different from base Dune, which a lot of people are wary about or think is overpowered. But you actually have to go through a lot to make it work. You got to make sure the shield wall is broken. You got to make sure you got a maker hook to get the worms. And that creates a nice little mini adventure within trying to win a conflict that I really appreciated. I was like, oh, I'm playing the game the way it was meant to be played. I see. I see what they did there. cool. That's really cool. So at the end of the day with Dune Imperium Uprising is there's just kind of too many irons in the fire. There's too many things to think about at once. To think about, where are my spies going to go? Do I have enough spies out in order to take them off when I play this card so that the power will go off well? That being said, I will always play Dune Imperium Uprising. If someone suggests it, I'll even suggest it because I think there's still more that I want to kind of unearth with it. I think the variance is really refreshing and kind of fun. It gives more depth to the experience. But I think what I'm itching for next is base Dune Imperium with some of the expansions mixed back in. And play with that a little bit, and I'll probably play Uprising with some of the expansions mixed into that. And, basically I'm at a point where like Dune is Dune is Dune is Dune is Dune. And you just kind of get different variations. And some are going to be a little better than others. But at the end of the day, you're playing Dune Imperium. So that's kind of where I've come down finally on Dune Imperium Uprising. It is not my favorite way to play Dune, but I'm still playing Dune, and I love it.
Next game I played was a game that apparently Dad is terrible at. So says Marion Dallas a number of times, and that's Planet Unknown.
I'm not terrible. I just rushed the finish.
That's right. Yes, sure, you rushed the finish. That's right. Planet Unknown is another like polyomino game where you have this like lazy Susan in the middle of the table, this thing that turns. On your turn, you can pick like any tile that you want, but then whatever you choose, that limits the options that the other players have.
Yeah, love that.
You take a tile, you move up on a track of whatever color tile you pick, and then you do stuff. Like if you move up on the gray track, you get new technologies that you unlock. If you move up on the red track, you move a little space rover around on your planet that's got to collect water and meteors. If you move up on the green track, you get some forests. If you move up on the blue track, you just get points. The black track gives you like these scoring cards, whatever. You just move up on tracks, but you're just trying to fit all these polyominoes, and every time you complete like a row and column, you get points, and the game basically just continues until somebody can't place a tile. And so the game could end with like everyone having like a nice rounded planet where like it's like down to like you've got 3 spaces left, and the 2 tiles in front of you are both, they just don't fit, and you're like, I guess the game's over.
It could end that way.
Or you could just be dead. Just put tiles like randomly half scattered on the board and have holes, and then just like halfway through the game be like, I can't place anything. And then the game's over.
No, it's not halfway through the game. Then at the end of the game, I say I can't place anything more. See, so you're presuming like I take offense at this accusation that I'm not good at the game. If the game was about filling your board, then I wouldn't be good at the game. But the game is not about that. The game is about getting points. One way to get points is by filling your board well, because there's points available for rows and columns. Mm-hmm. But there's other ways to get points. And so in the game that I did play, I played once. But in the game I played, I don't think I'm mistaken, but I wasn't like we were all in close scoring. Like I didn't do bad.
That's cool.
So I'm just saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
That's Dan's way of saying he's not bad at this game.
No, like I would be perfectly willing to say that I'm bad at polyomino puzzles.
Right.
That's not necessarily what this game is.
No, you're right.
You can play this game that way, but like the reason why I like this game is that the rule is the game is over when someone can't.
That's right.
If the rule was you can keep placing until you can't, then I would hate this game.
Right.
But because it says the game is over when one person, I'm like, great. As soon as I heard that rule, I was like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I know how I'm playing this game. And so the next time, if Mary Dallas allow me to play with them again, they should know what to expect.
That's right. Yeah, if you play a normal game of this, might take you 45 minutes. A game with Dan, 15 tops. Dan's just going to like rush the ending. He's going to put his tiles in the most awkward positions.
Not rush. I'm still trying to get points.
Oh, yeah, he might still beat you, but it's just the game's going to be over really quickly.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's a fun polyomino game. It's lovely.
Well, we were waiting for Father Greg to arrive. Colin and I played Nova Luna.
Yes.
So introduce a nice game of Nova Luna to Colin. And you know what? Nova Luna is just this great abstract strategy game. It's not like a favorite genre of mine, but Nova Luna does it so well that I just can't help but really enjoy it. And when you do get kind of the knack and the rhythm for what this kind of game is, it's really delightful to play. So you're building patterns of colors and the tiles have these kind of goals written on them. And so it'll indicate, hey, I want a turquoise and a red and a blue adjacent to me. And so then if you accomplish that in your little grid that you're creating, you put a token on there. And you're just trying to be the first one to get rid of all of their tokens. And it's great. And it has that whole dynamic of when you take a tile, you're going to move your token a certain number of spaces indicated on the time kind of spot on the tile. And some tiles, basically tiles with more goals cost more, tiles with less goals cost less. And you're going to keep on taking turns until your token catches up to
That's right.
the next players. And so I played a bit of a strategy this time of just taking little tiles.
Right.
And just sort of taking as many tiles as I could.
Yeah, little tiles are good.
Yeah. Because then you just have a lot of color and just making sure that like colors were together. So that then when I found a tile that needed 4 yellow, I was ready for it. And just, So it was fun. Yep. Love it.
The last game that I played this month was Architects of the West Kingdom.
Whoa!
So I've been trying to... Marion Dallas played Scholars
Yes.
with somebody that shall not be named, Ryan, who did invite me, but I'm not bitter.
You sound a little bitter.
No, it's fine. But anyways, they played Scholars. I haven't played Scholars yet, but they hadn't played any of the games. So a while ago, I taught them Raiders. They really enjoyed Raiders. Taught them Architects. And as I would explain the game, it's a typical worker placement where it's there's 8 spots you can go to, and it's here's how all of these spots work, and they're okay, this is gonna be a big game, as I'm explaining it. And then halfway through, they're oh, this game's gonna be over really fast. I was yeah, we're getting close. and it's just a funny thing where it's yes, there's a lot of rules in the sense that there's 8 different spots. You have to explain what they all do. But on your turn, you put one worker into one spot and you do the action.
Right. Next
Person's turn. So your turns are zippy, right? You're just constantly going. It's your turn before you know it again. And so the game goes at a good pace. It's almost over too quickly, and I think sometimes that's a lot of times the game ends up I still want to do stuff.
Right.
I want to. Oh man, there's still a lot of
That's a hard feeling to assess. Was it good that it was over so quickly that you still wanted to do stuff, or was it just kind of not good?
That's right. But surprising and somewhat surprisingly, I am surprised that this game is in the top 100 of BGG. Because, I like it. I do. I like this game. It surprises me that most of BGG likes this game.
Yeah.
Because it is just it's a nice clean package, but it's over really quick.
Right.
It's although the rules explanation is a little bit dense, the game is very, very simple.
Right.
Pick up resources, play cards, build a cathedral, done.
The last game I played in the month of March, and the second last game, I guess, to follow the Great Claim, he doesn't remember, Forest Shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
We played a nice little game of Forest Shuffle.
Points for that, huh?
Yeah, so we'll never know.
Who won that one?
Me.
Oh, yeah.
No, I lost.
Yeah, that's right. You sucked at this.
Anyway, so this play of Forest Shuffle does go to show that there can be some swinginess from game to game based on the cards that you get. There was a neat thing in this game where all 3 of us had the ability to play a bear. And so what the bear does is the bear allows you to add cards to the clearing, and then take all the cards from the clearing and put them in your cave. And at the end of the game, any cards that are in your cave are 1 point apiece. And so I had a bear from the very beginning, and I said, wait, was this me? I had a clarifying question about the bear. And so then it was clarified. And then this guy goes and uses his bear. Yeah. Then Colin goes and uses his bear. And then I'm left every time I would use my bear, a bear gets used, so the clearing gets cleared. And,
well, you got to use it when the clearing's just about filled.
And then I made this terrible mistake where I was gonna do a better bear turn than both of yous. But then I saw I didn't.
You didn't do that?
No.
I think 13 points or something?
No. Oh. I was going to. But then I got onto a wolf and deer strategy.
Right.
And there was a wolf and deer in the clearing. And so I took them instead. And then I missed my chance to do the bear thing. And then the game was over really quick. Because the game is triggered by these winter cards that come out. And they're in the bottom third of the deck.
They're supposed to be shuffled into the bottom third of the deck. These 3 came up one after the other.
They were quick. They're not quite one or the other, but yes, they were quick. And so the game was over, and I didn't get a chance to deploy my wolf and deer strategy, nor do my bear clearing thing, and it's heartbreaking. But I still really like this game.
That's right. I made butterflies work.
You did.
The first time. I mean, it's a rarity, but...
A lot of people struggle with thinking the butterflies are underpowered, and they are.
Right.
But you had a butterfly and a hedgehog.
The hedgehogs. You need the hedgehogs.
Yeah.
Without the hedgehogs, butterflies are useless.
Yeah.
But you get them together, and Get
them together, and what do you got? Bippity boppity hedgehog.
That's right. No, yeah, this game, it's enticing. There's a lot of... Because each card has different goals, so you're constantly being like,
yes.
Oh, I want to complete all of this, but I have one card where I want to get a bunch of, I don't know, chestnut firs or whatever they're called or whatever. But then I got another card that's an oak, and it wants me to have one of every tree. I'm like, well, I can't do both of these, but maybe I can. I couldn't. But, there's still that thought of like, oh, I don't have a Douglas fir yet. Okay, sure, put that one in. Oh, I don't have a cypress. Ooh, I don't have one of those. Sure, put that in. Oh, and a birch. Yeah, beech. Ooh, sure, put that in too.
Yeah.
And then you never get it. But,
right.
So half of your cards are like unfulfilled or...
Yes, that's right.
Giving you like 2 points.
It was fun going through the scoring because if the scoring sheet's really dumb. It's like, okay, all the top and bottom cards score. Right. Okay, side to side cards score. Okay, your trees score. And it's like usually like 1 or 2 categories get a lot of points, and the other categories are just like, no.
That's right. Yeah.
But I'm seeing all sorts of like side to side cards on their boards, but it's like, nope.
That's right.
Nothing worked out.
It's a good game. It is a good game. I've warmed up to it.
Yeah, it is a solid game. Game. Well, there you have it, party people. Those are all the games that we played in the month of March. Despite being a late March, pretty good March.
Pretty good March.
Right. So, if you watch this channel, please let us know in the comments down below what you've been playing in the month of March. And what you like, what you think we might like based on what we like to play. And we are going to talk about, before we go, what our favorite board game of the month of March was.
Sure. I'll go for Planet Unknown. This is a lot of fun.
Planet Unknown is...
We had a great time.
Solid choice.
It's nice and even just like the component of like that Lazy Susan, the way it spins, everything about this game just really, really slick.
Yeah, so for me this is tough. But Voyages of Marco Polo is going to eke out the win. Yeah, it's just going to eke out the win. And you know what? You mentioned Architects of the West Kingdom and this whole idea of it like ending too early. I think Marco Polo has a little bit of that feeling too.
Right.
Where it kind of constrains you at the end, and you're like, was that game too short? But I still just come down and say, man, that was a thrilling time. I loved my experience. Can't wait to play that again. So, party people, what was the best game you played in the month of March? Let us know in the comments down below. And stay tuned for more videos. Okay, party people, if you like the video, please press the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Please tell people that you like this channel and that they should watch it too. And until next time, party people.
Have the best day.